Hello and welcome to the second episode of Blades in the Dark. If you'd like to go back and watch the first one, the link to it will be on screen. If you're staying with us, we are joining Claudia and Matilda. The two of them have been left to hold down the fort in the house that they have turned into their base, at which point they hear a knock at the door.
Walk forward with my I'll go down the slide with the bottle of whiskey in hand. Hayward has carelessly left in my possession a few glugs out, and then kind of stumble forward to the door and very over the top pull it open, reeking of booze.
Which you see the familiar Eli who gave you the base, with a little kind of A5 card in his hand. And he sort of sees you and smells you and takes a slight step back.
I'm gonna, Eli! And I wrap my arms around and pull him in.
Yes. Claudia, Matilda, sorry. Very nice to see you two. Is there anyone who hasn't been partaking in some of the drinks that I left?
No. No, not that many though. I'm not drunk. I'm just
Claudia as well.
Hi. I'm totally sober.
Just who I wanted to see.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
I don't suppose
I'm not really on duty right now, but
I don't suppose Posh Boy is around today.
Posh Boy. I'm sorry. Posh Boy's I don't know, he's probably out spending his trust fund, isn't he? I've not seen him.
It's okay.
Unless he got concreted in with the slide, but I'll be honest, I didn't notice.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure Matilda will be a perfectly reputable companion. He hands you
Gosh! How am I going to drag my girl Matilda like that? What the fuck?
In my own world, it goes right over me. Kind of.
So he hands you an invitation to a party, very ornately decorated, for a wealthy couple that you definitely will have heard of. The very, very rich Lafayette and Monica Burns. They are kind of proper old money. They kind of have interests in quite a few different businesses around, own quite a bit of land. They themselves will not have ever been customers of yours, but
Yet.
they have a lot of very high profile connections, and there probably are a few people at this party who might have been customers of yours. They are famously quite reclusive. This probably would have been the first time that you'd have an opportunity to go to one of their parties. They're quite known for being quite reclusive. The place they live in is very well guarded, and they throw occasional parties for special occasions that are quite legendary, very extravagant. You know, it's the kind of thing where the cheapest drink on offer is, a bottle of champagne that costs about 50 coin to get. They're very over the top with these parties that tend to have the kind of the richest and best in the land going to them.
It's like the crime Met Gala before they started inviting all the YouTubers.
Sure,
Right.
I don't get the reference. Let's say yes. Sure, let's say yes. I don't get the reference. People in chat, if you get the reference, can you explain it to me? Okay, nobody gets the reference. That's the important thing. So, oh hey Kevin. So, you've been granted an invite to this party with a +1. That Eli was obviously hoping that Posh Boy would, be able to do that role as a +1 as someone else who's used to high society and might be a little bit less conspicuous, but a former bounty hunter will have to do. As he's kind of given it to you and given you a chance to kind of take in what it is, he says, so I'm aware they've come into possession at some point of an artifact quite similar to the one that we found from the Foghounds. As I'm sure you're aware, they're not the easiest people to steal from. Definitely might be a little bit trickier than the ragtag group of the Foghounds, but both of you have proven yourself very capable. I'm sure you'll have no problems finding this item and liberating it from them. Same deal. Well, I say same deal. You obviously already have this place, so that's not going to be part of it. But get the thing, pay you 5 coin. If you want to see anything else while you're there, feel free. Have fun. Not my problem. Don't care. The only thing I care about is another of these keys.
I'm gonna need some kind of dress because I can't go in this.
Where will we find a nice dress? I'm sure I'll be able to find something. I feel like Mathilda is probably classier than Claudia.
Mathilda is not classy.
No, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll find something. I'm sure I can go to my old friends. They'll have something, surely, that isn't, We'll find. We'd have to buy this. We can nick it. Like with thieves. Or we could make it. We could have like a Cinderella montage.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh.
Shall I
Yeah.
command the builders to make a dress and get them to sing like little mice at the same time?
Yes.
Incredible. Yeah, sure.
I'll command. Maybe sway them.
Yeah,
Consort them.
whatever you feel is the best method of persuasion to get them to make a dress
Yeah.
and to sing like mice whilst they do it.
Let's.
Can I assist? There's like a thing.
Yeah,
I
so you
can
could do
pay one.
group action. So you would roll, the same thing, and if it's a 1, 2, or 3, Claudia would take 1 stress.
Oh no, I don't want to stress her. It's fine.
I mean, it's fine. We just call it pre-party anxiety. Just. Now. What am I doing? I'm swaying them. I'm gonna be like, right, I'm sure you put a slide together. How hard could haberdashery be? Mathilda needs a bitchin' dress, and I bet you could do it. And if you do it, you can go on the slide. That one, not me. Oh, that's the floor. Oh, no, you were kidding. Right, one is a 1, but the other is a 6.
Perfect.
The floor dice is a 6.
Perfect.
Unless you're going to make me re-roll it.
It's fine. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, they you know what? They feel like they've done such a good job on building the slide that they quite like a go. And one of them, in their spare time, they have a little side hustle of tailoring and making clothes. So, it kind of gets the others together. They there's a bunch of because this house is it's been uninhabited for quite a while, but it used to be a posh family home for Eli and his family. There's quite a bit around of like quite nice materials. Quick rummage round, they've actually found pretty good stuff to make a dress out of. Put it all together. What are you imagining? Just describe the dress that Matilda would have them make you.
It would have to be black. And I feel like she's had a few drinks, so she's going to be a bit like... She's kind of... I think she doesn't have a background in any of this, so she'll assume something extremely gaudy and over the top is what fits in with high society. So something like big, like, those like high collars that kind of come out at the back that kind of frame the face. So at an angle that'll kind of match the fringe and, very like poofy skirts and things like that. But it'll be like cap shoulders. And the girls out like a big old cleavage at the front. Yeah, but like connecting onto the shoulders there. That's she's assuming is high society.
Claudia, are you going to add anything to maybe direct as to what high society looks like, or are you...
Are you telling me this isn't what high society looks like? This is exactly the kind of shit they would do.
Huh?
Come on. Oh, and make sure it's not like inappropriate by high society standards, but like it's probably not. I would think.
It does have an almost like not that they exist in this universe, but it does almost have like a movie star, pop star kind of dress that says, "Do you know who I am?"
It's very
kind
Met Gala.
feel.
It is very Met Gala.
Wonderful.
If like the Met Gala theme this year was What We Do in the Shadows, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's gonna look great with the red dress that Claudia has as well. We're going like black and red.
Wonderful. It's just turning into like the Dwimble power couple at this.
Yeah, and like it's gaudy and like OTT enough that it's definitely like wearing white to someone else's wedding. Like this is I'm here to like show up Lafayette and Monica.
Perfect for an infiltration mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, but would you have like, you know how it's a big poofy skirt? Are they like detachable pieces? They're like a stealth. Oh, we're forward planning now. I'm really invested in the dress.
I feel like with big poofy things I can get away with a bigger load. Because just hide it in all the layers.
That's a really good shout.
Like
You unfold one and then there's loads of guns, and then you unfold another.
I'm sort of imagining that like a mix of I don't even know what, and that bit in the Matrix, where he opens up the coat and just like full of weapons.
Yes, 100%.
But hidden under your skirt. Cool. Right. Is there anything else you want to do in advance in terms of like planning and stuff? Obviously, we'll do all of that retrospectively. So you don't have to worry too much about that. But just if there's anything you want to do, more for fun before heading off to a party.
go down the slide in our dresses, obviously, I think is
Mm.
a very important step.
Yeah.
Have it sketched for the this in Universe's version of Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the builders gets a quick impression, and telegrams it to the instant office, and they post it on the Instagram wall, which is just the wall on the side of their building. Everyone looks
Hashtag
walks by.
Instagram. Hashtag gang life. Hashtag crime.
I'm sure we find there's genuinely a part of me that's like, should we roll finesse for going down the slide, just to see if
Oh, we should not roll finesse for going down a slide. Although I totally would, it'd be hilarious.
in fancy dresses. Yeah, I think let's do it.
I mean, I'm happy to take the lead on it.
Oh, make it group action.
If you want that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I could do this rep for that. That's
I'm
fine.
just gonna have to get my dice that I dropped
Okay.
in a way that's not gonna completely move the camera. Don't drop dice on the floor. Oops. Right, I can fix this. I can see myself. Can I? Sorry, this is very professional. This is the first drink I've had today, I promise. Well, not alcoholic one.
This is the shit I cut out when when I'm editing. It's fine. It's kind of the weird thing about
Okay.
doing it. Like I understand, why, like outside Xbox, when they started off doing some D&D streams live and then switched to kind of recording them, and like you kind of see why. Like someone drops dice and you can't really do anything with that on live. But you can edit that shit out. Anyway. Yeah, if you could roll finesse.
Okay. That's, if I've got no dots at all, that's 2
That's
in the
2
lowest.
in the lowest, yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, it's a 6 and a 5, so...
Alright.
I rolled a 3.
Awesome. Well, good job that we take the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is success with a complication. Which
It's-
might come up later. Who knows?
It's a mess, but it's a hot mess, you know? Like, it's a good mess.
Alright. Cool. So, I reckon it's probably time to do the engagement roll. What type of score do you, or what type of score do you want to go for? There's assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, or transport.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm happy, like, I have a few things in command and consort if we want to go social with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say my best two are either, like, deception or social.
Yeah.
They're kind of pretty similar, but I guess.
Mm.
Yeah. Social is negotiate, bargain, or persuade. Deception is lure, trick, or manipulate. You can justify either. So just whatever sort of approach you'd rather take.
I mean, it'd probably be easier to lie our way through than convince them to hand us stuff over.
It's more about the kind of way you start.
Yeah.
You have got an invite, so I mean, social is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
If you
Okay,
want to go
no.
for like a deception
Yeah.
approach, you could potentially.
No, I think social sounds good to me then.
Cool.
If we're already invited.
And loadouts. What's everyone going for?
I feel like I'm going light.
I feel I can get away with going heavy with everything. Just all the layers.
And you think it ends at the dress,
Yeah,
but then you like unhook the collar and there's like stuff hidden in there.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll do the engagement roll. We've got 1d for sheer luck. Is this operation particularly bold or daring?
I'm drunk going into a. I'm like, sorry, no experience.
I feel like the answer is yes. I mean,
Yeah.
walking into
Yeah.
a party of a famously paranoid and reclusive family and going to steal something, I'd say that's pretty bold or daring. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest?
I mean,
So yeah, they're like allowing themselves to open up to like this kind of stuff. They're inviting people into their home, which they usually close off.
Yeah, it's
I
definitely.
don't-
Well, I mean, it's more hitting
yeah.
them when they're weakest rather than where they're weakest, but I think it is.
we're gonna go so drunk.
And can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation?
Can any of mine? If I know some people who are there.
Plausibly. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there's a reasonable chance you've had some client before who's been to one of these.
Yeah.
I assume your client base. Well, I assume your rates are quite high, so I assume your client base is quite rich. So there's a reasonable chance that at least one person that you know has been to one of these. So that's 4. 46 for the engagement roll.
That doesn't
Oh.
sound good.
Okay, I chucked 4d6 down. There's a 1, a 1, a 3, and a 3.
Well,
So
This is because we got 6s for our downtime activity for the slide.
this is all a slide.
Yeah. Slide.
I like to imagine we're like making our way there, going. Like I know Haywood would be going in super loud as well. But like, do you think Carrion and Mittens would be judging us right now while we're walking down in these massive dresses? Do you think they think this was a bad idea? And then we're drinking
No,
out.
no. Yeah. It's like on your way to the club and you don't want to. You want to be lit before you go in.
okay. So I forgot to note down which bit of the city they're in. They're in the super posh bit.
Nice.
And I forgot to check what that is called.
Can you have like a montage like in Shrek 2, where they arrive at far, far away, and they're in the carriage, and Donkey's head is like sticking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Funky Town plays in the background.
Incredible. Okay. So you are in a part of the city called Brightstone, which is where exactly where you'd expect them to be. It's the posh bit. It's full of very large houses, very wealthy, very rich. You kind of really notice. So from where you are, you're kind of on the east side in Six Towers. presumably you're taking a carriage there. 6 Towers, actually, you can cross the river directly into Brightstone, and it's I'm sure you've all been to places in the country where like you're kind of going down some roads, and Six Towers very like dilapidated. Used to have quite large houses, but it's kind of been left to ruin, and it's all kind of falling apart, and boarded up windows and graffiti and all that kind of stuff. And so you literally go from that one side of the bridge, you cross the bridge, and suddenly you're in very nicely lit. They've got the kind of street lamps out to help kind of see everywhere. It's very clean. You're kind of seeing these very nicely spaced out houses, all very large. Like even kind of where you're entering is kind of the cheaper part of Brightstone, and even that is very, very nice. You kind of feel like you've gone from a kind of very oppressive, dark nighttime in Six Towers to suddenly, there's kind of even people sort of milling around outside at night, which you would dream of doing in most parts of the city. Plenty of bluecoats kind of patrolling and being very friendly and sociable towards the wealthy people. You kind of very suddenly finding yourself in this very nice, bright part of the city. You go past even some bits of greenery, which greenery in Wimble is almost unheard of. But there are parks and even occasional people with gardens, which to you, Claudia, probably isn't a massive deal, given your upbringing. Although you kind of be aware that they're not usual for most people. I expect for you, Matilda, this is a very different world to what you're used to. Even if you might have been there before, it's still the sort of place that feels very strange to be if you're not used to it. As you kind of go through the streets, you kind of swing into a section that it's not quite like gated off, but you can kind of see there are sort of walls around in this section, and you're kind of going into a road, and actually there's kind of actual amounts of grass either side, and there's even some trees that have been kind of planted here. And you start to see quite spread out kind of very large houses that then are individually kind of walled off and gated. And you see some that are quite impressive. You kind of swing right, kind of past some trees that kind of slightly obscure this house, and make your way up a hill, again sort of lined by actual trees, and you come up to a gate. Behind this gate is a very, very large house. Your taxi driver kind of takes you up to this very kind of ornate gate in the middle of sort of 10 feet high walls, so very secure. Very well built walls around it. At which point a guard comes out to essentially to greet you and to check your invitation. He comes around to the side door. Good evening, ladies. Please, can you show me your invitation?
Can I stick my hand out so that he can help me out of the carriage, and not until he's actually started, then I've got it in my hand, but you're gonna help me out.
You're not properly inside yet, so this is just the outside
oh
gate.
wow, we're going right up to the door. Fancy.
Yeah. There's more to it that you'll get to see. Yeah, you don't want to get out yet.
Oh, okay, fair. Okay, I'll look at him in a superior manner and show him that. I'm just imagining we have like sunglasses on and shit as well.
Ah, wonderful. And what was the name?
Is the invitation like actually addressed to us, or is it just like a?
No, it's just an invitation.
Oh, okay. It's Hightower. Or do you want our full names? Because
I would appreciate it. Yes.
that's quite. Oh God, I can't think of the word like in real life. Never mind. Mathilda, what did we? What were you just going by Mathilda? Were we going to make you up a name?
It means the name.
Have you made up one? Or...
No, we're gonna make me up a name.
Okay.
Or
Flashback to 5 minutes ago when we were having this conversation.
Oh, it has to be. It has to be double-barreled. 100%. Rolls Royce. Rolls Royce. Mathilda Rolls Royce. That's what we're going with.
Mathilda Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
I should maybe change my first name. Because in case anyone knows me. And if he's gonna like announce my name, I don't want to like. Because like my surname's fine, because like that's a rich family name. But I should maybe change to like a name I'll remember. What name will I remember? I mean, I have an idea in real life, but I don't know if it's a good one. Is Claire sat really still, or is Claire frozen?
Oh, damn, I think Claire's frozen. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, you're back. You're okay.
No, but the funny thing is, I had said Serena when you asked.
That's what I was thinking.
And then I just told out like the university, and I know.
I was gonna be like, what about something like, I don't know, really obnoxious, like Serena or something? I'll just be Serena Hightower. Like, what a stupid name.
You froze, and then when you left, obviously, then it shifted everything out on Discord, and then you joined, but because you weren't on video, we're in different order, so then you were in my spot. But it's all good. We're all back in the right places. All right.
The internet decided to take a little woohoo.
Have a little break. Yeah.
A little, like,
Cool. So I don't know where we got to in that previous conversation.
We're giving the guys our fake names.
Oh yeah. So what was the name? So Hightower and what was your first name actually? Let me.
Mathilda.
Oh yes, Mathilda.
Rolls Royce.
Okay. Yep. Mathilda Rolls Royce, sure, and Hightower.
Serena Hightower.
Serena Hightower.
It's
sure.
Italian.
I'm sure it is.
I don't know if Italy is a thing.
It totally exists in this universe. He just doesn't understand what you mean. Sure.
You'd understand if you were a higher class citizen. Oh, that's the most horrible thing I've ever said. I'm so sorry.
He then takes the invitation from you, so you can't like pass it back over the wall for someone else to enter, just in case you're planning on doing that, and signals to the two guards in kind of gatehouses either side to come out. They open the door, and as they do, the gate, which is kind of solid, opens out. You see a kind of courtyard area in front of you. There's kind of a gravel track up to the house. Nice big fountain in the middle, just outside. So a nice kind of area for a kind of horse and cab to go up to the front door, go around the fountain.
Filming the intro for a sitcom as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And kind of the other side of it is this very large stately home that is definitely a sign that you recognise as these people are fucking fancy. It's kind of sort of, it's not Tudor, it's like fake Tudor, like, you know, the kind of Victorian obsession with Tudor architecture, and so they make kind of fake Tudor, and it's kind of very elaborate fake Tudor style building. What you can see is kind of a main section that's kind of behind the fountain in that kind of little courtyard area that you can see, and then there's two wings coming out slightly towards where you are, out either side. Probably about 3 stories with a couple of towers built into it. So the guard that you're just speaking to is kind of just walking up with the cab. It's obviously not going very fast. It goes up, round, and then stops. Just the door. Then you get out is literally just outside, and it is a kind of brick pathway that comes out to the sort of point where the cab stops. So when you get out onto it rather than gravel, because heels. So the cab driver, being that you probably had to get a slightly fancier than average to go to a party like this, knows exactly where to pull up, so that it's perfectly lined up with his map. The guard that kind of took your names is then following around, as soon as the cab stops, he opens the door and offers a hand to kind of both of you as you climb up. He then walks with the two of you, so you kind of go through some very over-the-top grandiose front doors with a couple of sort of lion head carvings on it. They didn't really go for subtlety when they designed this. Swing open those doors. You then go down sort of through a kind of initial foyer section, sort of down through that corridor. There's then like a short flight of stairs, like a kind of mini 3 or 4 steps essentially, to take you up. Carry on going through. You got kind of a couple of rooms either side, and then a couple of spiral staircases, and then as you go through, and as you're walking down, by the way, you can kind of see various sort of servants and people, and each of those stairs actually has a kind of guard stood in front of them to keep guests in the places they're supposed to be. He then kind of takes you past those, and there's another set of quite grand doors there. He kind of opens them, and sort of assuming that you being high society, are going to expect him to introduce you. He walks into then this very large kind of grand room. In front of you, you can see it's got a bit of a balcony above as well, with a couple of staircases coming down, because the hosts haven't actually sort of arrived yet, if that makes sense. They're kind of waiting for enough people to be there for them to make their grand entrance. So this is kind of leading you in, and as he kind of walks in, he kind of quite loudly opens the doors and shouts out, "Ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary people, we're not going to have aggressive gender ideas here. Introducing the Lady Mathilda Rolls-Royce and the Lady Serena Hightower." And kind of bows and steps back out of the way and runs out through to them. Get the next people in.
I'm gonna link arms.
Yeah.
And then stick my nose in the air
Mhm.
and walk down like that, like I, pull up my ass, kind of. And that's what I'm doing.
You know that thing where they walk when they're on the red carpet and they're trying to look at all the photographers, like with every different step they take for like the pictures and stuff. That's what I'm doing. I'm like trying to make eye contact with as many people as possible as we walk in. Like in a, yeah, you know who we are. I mean, you don't, but you do.
In this room, it's kind of a very large kind of ballroom type. So there's about 30 people there already, and so as you're walking down, there's various kind of people around with canapes and drinks. Kind of immediately, someone rushes over with a platter of very nice champagne. In champagne fruits, obviously, for to offer one for you to take.
Yeah, I'm taking one as well.
He kind of does as you take them. He then kind of scurries off. There's sort of obviously, as with such parties, there's obviously everyone there very fancy dressed, kind of a mix of sort of tailcoats and nice dresses kind of thing. You get the idea. There's then kind of bits of sort of other drinks on sort of tables on the side, and some other little bits of food kind of dotted around, and kind of people are stood around in different little groups, chatting to each other. There's that sort of sense of slight anticipation as obviously the hosts are yet to arrive, and it's kind of everyone sort of making a bit of small talk before, and a kind of bit of general as sort of because of all super posh. From what you have seen of the kind of 30 odd people currently in the room, some of them gave you a couple of looks from the introduction, and the ones who didn't give you a couple of looks from that, I'll give you a couple of looks as Mathilda's dress. There's definitely quite a bit of attention on the two of you, and a bit of attention there. What would you like to do?
which men look particularly attractive and particularly rich?
I mean, they all look pretty indistinguishably rich. No one's really dressed that differently, particularly amongst the men. It's very straightforward. There's maybe a couple that you're kind of your discerning eye, you can sort of pick out a little bit of detail on the tailoring that you would recognise as particularly fine. Unfortunately, those two that you kind of obviously see are not particularly good looking. There's some kind of normally attractive people who, in the context of this party, I mean, they're still pretty rich. Not rich in the context of this party, but in the context of, the normal world. I mean, they're all rich in that sense.
Not that I'm getting distracted, but I'm just gonna mix with some rich guys, I'm like saying to Matilda.
And I, before she goes off to mingle, can I have a look around and see if anyone is say clearly looks like the type to be on opiates or something, or have that kind of
Oh, there's gotta be.
stuff on.
In one of the bathrooms the guests are allowed to use, something's going on.
Yeah.
Make
One of the rich guys, just to kind of
make a roll for it.
I'm gonna survey.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. It was a 6 and a 2. So
Cool. Yeah, you kind of spot a little group that are kind of off towards one of the side doors that you suspect might lead through to where the bathrooms are, having a little bit of a conversation.
Welcome to the internet, my friend. How can I help you?
Of course, I forgot to mute the notifications. Thanks for the follow. I need to work out to do that. Yeah, so you see a group of them kind of sit around having a corner in a corner having a conversation. There's sort of three of them. So there's two kind of youngish men and a woman, also youngish. They kind of you group in their sort of mid 20s, and you kind of see them having a little bit of a conversation. It's clearly a little bit hush, a little bit secret, and you can catch a glimpse of something that one of them passes to another, which for most people they might not necessarily understand what it is. For your discerning eye, you've just seen an opium needle.
I'm gonna involve myself in that group while Claudia is on the hunt.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over and just kind of that's my trying to what's the phrase? So I don't know if it translates well, but it's the equivalent of scabbing a rollie off at someone. But yeah.
Okay. Sure. What's your approach? What's your opening line gonna be?
I'm gonna kind of while they're distracted, I'm gonna gently place my hand on whoever has it, they've seen it in the shoulder. It's I don't know how pleased they'd be to see what I just saw. Maybe you shared. No one would have to know.
Sure. So the guy, so it's one of the guys who kind of clearly had the stash that handed one of them to the woman in that group. So assume it's kind of that one that you've kind of gone, okay, that's the one with the stash. He turns around and has a look and says, well, I feel that the people here, they don't necessarily recognise these things. You would have to be a prolific user to recognise the very nice water that we have. I take it you're a connoisseur of water.
I am.
Was it Mathilda Rolls Royce? I'm not familiar with the Rolls Royces.
We come from quite far. I'm visiting with my friend. She's
very, very exotic. I presume the exotic fashion as well has come in with you as well. I'm sure it won't take long before it's all the rage here. It's quite a look.
Oh, this little thing.
Yeah,
it's all I could fit in my luggage.
We don't see many people looking like you around here. It's quite an honour, really.
Thank you.
I mean, I've already had some water this evening, but you know what? I think some of us were considering stepping out to take a drink. Why don't you join us?
Oh, well, I'm terribly parched. Thank you.
So yeah, as you kind of suspected, the little door they kind of all walk out through. There's essentially kind of out through that door. There's basically 4 like individual sort of bathrooms essentially. You know, each of them has like kind of very fancy sort of marble floors and toilet with gold on the top because they can. Similarly, sink with gold on the taps because again they can. Very nice mirrors, kind of towels around. A lot of kind of space. I mean, the bathroom itself is kind of what you might be used to as like someone's house size, like individual bathrooms. The idea, that a person, whatever the size of their dress might be, they can fit in and make it there. So I mean, for 4 of you to kind of stand around in there is completely comfortable. There's no, it's not packed or it doesn't feel weird at all. And he kind of pulls out some needles and kind of takes a little bit of look, and then kind of selects one for you and hands it to you.
Okay, I'm gonna wait for the rest of them to, sort themselves out.
Yeah.
A little bit, just to kind of get this, so they're on a kind of buzz first. Like I'll take it, but just wait for them.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean the one who said, the one who kind of gave it to you, as you mentioned, had previously taken one, but the other two hadn't yet. So you kind of see the guy kind of take his jacket off and roll up shirt sleeve, you see the woman who was wearing kind of long sleeve dress. Again, kind of roll up sleeves, and you kind of see both of them benching a bit, finding Vane and Cheeky and Jacked.
Can I mark off a bit of load
Sure.
and say I've like taken some of Carrie Ann's little like vials, like small vials. So like, you know, I'm not gonna let this stuff go to waste. But I know I'm here for a job, so I'm gonna see if I can sneakily like have that hidden away and make it look like I'm partaking, but like actually, you know, saving for later.
Nice. Yeah, make a roll for it.
So, I guess this is finesse.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I want this to work because I want to keep it. So can I push myself?
Yep. Take
Yeah.
2 stress and add an extra dice.
Okay. And that's a 5 and a 3.
Okay. Yeah. So you succeed. I mean, yeah, you kind of presumably. What would be the best way of doing it? How do you kind of imagine
Angle
doing
myself. Yeah, I gotta angle myself away from them. So like my body's in the way, and then I've had like the vial just kind of tucked in my elbows, just so that they can't see that, but they can see the thing. And then I am accustomed to the facial expressions, so like just mimic that, and then yeah, that's what I do.
All right. Yeah. That kind of works fine. The guy who gave it to you looked very impressed at how kind of well you're kind of, yeah, the finesse which you showed, clearly some experience and appreciation for it. He kind of turns to you and says, well, it's I hope you enjoyed it. Some of the finest that we get. You wouldn't waste it on some commoner. But you know, as you're a guest in this place, you know, it's good to show you some hospitality. And it's very good to see you take it so well. Maybe would you like a bit of a tour around? I mean, I'm happy to introduce you to anyone. You know, good to show a bit of hospitality and a friendly welcome to such an exotic person as yourself.
Please, I don't know anyone here, and it would be so kind of you.
Certainly. Let's cut over to Claudia.
I have been trying to mix with nice, attractive, easy to sway men. Isn't that the mole? And sort of, you know, like in a small talky way, but try and get as much information about the couple that we're here, whose house we're in, as I can. Like, oh, it's been such a while since I've made one of these parties. we've been out of town for a while. What have they been up to recently, kind of thing?
Sure. Can you? Okay, so there's plenty of options. So presumably you just go for the nearest that you see and work your way around. You kind of see a group of sort of three men, probably early 30s. You kind of, as probably you're trained to do, you spot that two of them aren't wearing wedding rings as a potential target. For each of these, would you mind quickly rolling a d6?
Mm-hmm. Got a 4, a 1, and a 6.
Alright, cool. That's fine. So, I mean, they're just kind of stood in a circle, drinking and having a very posh sounding chat. What's your opening salvo?
Well, that's a question. I play these characters because I'm not charismatic in real life. Ah, yes, I too understand stocks and shares and things and rich people. Cars and horses. In a cohesive sentence.
I mean, for them, that probably just counted as a cohesive sentence. Yeah, all three have kind of look at you and say, yes, obviously, it's, I'm sorry, I don't believe we've been acquainted.
No, I am Serena Hightower.
Oh,
You know, the Hightowers, they're not from this city, but
yes, I mean, obviously, I've heard of the Hightowers. We've had dealings with Hightowers before.
Oh, well, good, I hope.
Oh, of course, a wonderful family. Tell me, are you related to Terence?
How does he say that? In an ominous way.
Not in an ominous way, no. You just get the sense that that's a Hightower that he's met before.
Oh, he could be one of my uncles or cousins, you know. You know how these parties are sometimes. You just all blur into one. Terence is a family name. It could be any number of about 5.
Yes. No, it's just yes, I met a Terence Hightower a few years ago. Lovely chap. We had a spiffing time. We really did. I can't remember what's now. I think it was. We were visiting the area. He was throwing a party, and my grandfather knew his grandfather. How it all works. So we got invited to a jolly good time. And it was wonderful to see you here, Sarah. Of the three of them, he's obviously chatting away like an idiot. One of them is giving you a bit of a funny look. The other two chatting whatever posh shit they normally do.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your names. What were your names?
Oh, certainly.
Oh.
Well, I am Julius Newman. Old family. Very old family.
New man, old family. I see what you did
Yes.
there.
Yes. Well, intentionally. This here is a good friend of mine called Roswell Askew.
Roswell Askew.
Oh, Askew.
Askew.
Yes. The old Dwimble Askews. You understand? Not.
Is he the one giving me a funny look, or?
No.
No, he's not the one. Okay.
Yes, not from the. Not one of the Severos Askews. Although I'm sure they're wonderful, but just in case you've come across those. I'm sorry. Actually, I don't remember your name. The one who's giving you a funny look. It was Cecil. Cecil Fulmore.
Cecil Fulmore.
You recognise the name. You might also recognise the face. You might also recognise why he might be giving you a funny look.
I'm going to stare him down until he... I'm going to do that thing where you're trying to make someone break eye contact to establish dominance.
He is not. He is staring straight back at you.
But I'm smiling in a nice way. I'm not like trying to look sus.
Yeah, he's kind of a similar sort of thing that he's kind of staring back at you and kind of slowly reaches out a hand.
Is it a wedding ring hand?
No.
The wedding ring on. He's not the wedding
Well,
ring.
I mean, you normally wear it on your left hand and you normally shake hands with your right hand, so it wouldn't be anyway. But if you look at his other hand, he's not wearing a wedding ring. And he, kind of slowly extends a hand and says that. I presume your sister is Claudia then?
Oh, she's not a sister, she's a cousin.
I'm sure she is. The other two are very oblivious to this weird conversation.
This is a really weird conversation, isn't it? I'm gonna like neck my champagne and grab another one off a passing tray. Well, with a person underneath, you know. I don't think.
Yeah, they haven't got to the point where they can just float trays around with drinks on. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people wandering around, easy enough to take one.
It's interesting you should mention my cousin, because we don't know what happened to her. How do you know my cousin?
Yes, I'm very sure you don't know what happened to her. Terrible business, I heard.
Oh, did you? Because I didn't. Do elaborate.
Well, she was kidnapped, of course. Because no
Of
one knows
course.
what's happened to her since, but, you just seem to fit the descriptions that people gave of her. Very
Familial
closely.
similarity is a thing. It's just interesting
Yes,
that you
surprising.
don't claim to be acquainted to the Hightowers, but you seem to know what my cousin looks like.
Well, it was a ghastly business that we all heard about, for sure.
Did we?
I'm surprised as a cousin you wouldn't have been involved in searching for her.
I'm not saying whether I am or not. It's more that you seem so very knowledgeable about it.
Well, the sort of business that we all hear about. And of course no one's heard from her in a while. I'm not sure someone like her would be welcome if they turned up, given some of the stories.
Gosh, given some of the stories, I don't suppose anyone associated with her either would be either, would they?
Well, I think we all know where the blame would be assigned.
I'm going to go back to being very nice to his friends.
His friend's completely oblivious to how fucking weird that was. Just kind of having a conversation about some party that they went to a couple of years ago. That this guy also went to with some classic japes. And yeah, just kind of generic posh chat about previous parties.
Oh, previous parties here. Is that what they're talking about? Or
I mean, not currently, but I mean, they'd be easy enough to sway onto a conversation about previous parties here.
Yeah, that's. Oh, so you've been to parties here before? Well, I mean, of course, I've been before, but not for a while.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes. Oh no, we were actually talking about a party we went to with this with this chap. He's hilarious, classic James. Anyway, yes. No, I mean we've been to parties here before. Yes, I mean we were here. What was it? 3 years ago. We actually met. I mean we'd met before, families, but we got chatting and we've been friends. Been to a few since. So yes, always good to reminisce about the old times here. Yes, that was. This is the second time we've been here. So yes, 3 years ago was our first one. How long ago? When were you here?
Oh gosh, some time ago. Oh, one loses track when one goes to many fancy parties.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But the one 3 years ago, I'm sure I'd have remembered meeting you.
Yes, no doubt. This of course is the sort of party that you tend to remember a little bit more than some of the others. But it's it's a jolly good time. I think they should be due to arrive any minute.
Have you heard from them? I know that they like to keep themselves to themselves.
Yes, they really do. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much conversation with them. I mean, obviously not directly, no one does. But, I had occasional conversations with, people high up in some of their businesses. We have a joint venture that we invested in, Van Leviathan hunting. So, we've had a couple of meetings with some high officials in their staff who they do have a representative that came down, so it was very nice to meet them and kind of hear about what they've been up to. They don't really leave this place even for important meetings, so we obviously have to talk through their officials, but when you're as wealthy as the Burns are, you really don't need to do things in person, do you? So yes, they have their exploits and their interests. I mean, I've not heard much. I know they obviously like to collect things, which they might even open the museum later on.
Museum.
To show some artifacts. I hear they've obviously expanded their collection as they normally do. So, if you, I mean, we haven't been here for 3 years. I think from what I've heard of them, from some of my family have been in the past. I think it should be mostly new exhibits for us. It's normally trinkets and curiosities they find. It's nothing valuable, of course. It's just they obviously wouldn't show valuable things to the likes of us, but curiosities really.
Oh, that sounds like it would be terribly exciting.
Yes, yeah, rather is.
Than I did in real life.
So I mean, I enjoyed it last time. It's very interesting to have a look at, and Yes, if it helps if you're sober enough to remember it, doesn't it?
Yes.
The kind of more normal friend is looking slightly sheepish at that.
Yeah. I mean, your friend Cecil here is terribly sober. I'm sure he'll be able to recount everything, word for word.
Yes, well, he's not the one I'm worried about, is it? Yeah, the other one's looking a bit sheepish.
This doesn't seem like Cecil's kind of fun, you know. Just taking the opportunity to be a bitch now, in case you hadn't noticed.
Oh, well,
They don't know that, they're men.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know. We already met Cecil this evening. But you know.
Roswell likes his drink, though.
Yes, he does. He's kind of looking a bit embarrassed. So the guy that you're chatting to is the married one, by the way. Yes, well, you know, you've got to take advantage when there's drinks on offer. It's not my fault that the champagne was a bit stronger than they told us.
I mean,
As if they told us it was any strength. It's obviously it's champagne. You know what strength champagne is.
I mean, he has a point. These parties don't happen all the time.
I mean, very true. Just maybe don't trip over onto one of the exhibits. Maybe save the drink till afterwards. You're lucky you're being invited back, old chap.
What did you do? I need to know.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't that bad. You know, it's just one of the exhibits. It was sort of a wooden totem pole that he had, and it was perched on a stand. Really, the stand was far too small for it. And I may have been tripped by someone, and I may have knocked into it and knocked it off the stand. I put it back. It was all fine. Not that the Burns know that, by the way. Keep that one. Yeah, that was a secret. Yes, someone pushed you. Yes, I think that was his own feet that he tripped over. Stumbling around like that. That's why you want to make sure you get the drinks afterwards. Make sure you don't break anything. You're lucky it wasn't anything valuable or breakable.
Well, indeed. I'm like at this point desperately looking around for Mathilda, like, help, men.
Well, conveniently, the gentleman that you met kind of leading you back into the room, and as you see Mathilda coming back in from where she left, you hear kind of a ring of a bell that you can see everyone instantly kind of sits up and pays attention to, and one of the kind of fancier looking guards is on that kind of balcony section, and kind of leaning over and shouts down, "Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary people, please put your hands together if that's the thing that you do in high society." I realised that I should have done research on social etiquette. Fuck it, it's Drimble, right? We can just make up high society social etiquette. Please put your hands together, but don't clap. I mean, just do that as a sign of respect. As we introduce the Lord and Lady Burns. You see, kind of from the balcony, there's kind of two at each end there's two kind of towers that go up from that you can see from outside, and then kind of coming through the doors you see the two of them. He's obviously wearing very fine suit that's kind of clearly new, custom tailored for him, and has a lot of quite fancy sort of embellishments around kind of trim areas, around like kind of lapels and kind of edges of it, and all that kind of stuff. She's kind of come in wearing a white dress, which you might not have clocked before, but it's very noticeable when you see that no one else here is wearing a white dress, which is more ostentatious than possibly you thought possible. The kind of poofiness of it. You realise the bathroom that you've seen, you realise why it's that big, because she would struggle to fit in a room much smaller than that. It's very large, and it kind of has like a the sort of almost like crown things that come up from the back behind. Like it's got quite a large display behind her. You're slightly worried that she's going to fall over, but she seems very accustomed to having such things.
It feels like Mathilda's very, very fashionable right now. Very fashionable, very high society.
Yeah,
Elsa's gone a little pink at from like envy. It's like.
I'm assuming we're standing next to each other because I'm just like.
Yeah, at this stage, I would have found you.
Yeah, assuming at this point you kind of saw each other and saddles.
Black is just a classier colour, though, isn't it? So you've got
Really?
that.
She just.
She's trying to.
Bitch, like.
How I
No,
kind
I
of
would
want
have said that quietly.
okay, because I mean, like,
Quietly.
the only sound is them like walking. Is the only thing. There's kind of feet on stairs walking down. So
These pre-arranged like eye movements.
okay,
Like that
yeah,
vine where they're eating and they're having
No.
that conversation, and they're like, "There's a vine. There's a vine. It's like that vine. That one vine." I'm gonna send
Cool.
that vine at some point.
Yeah.
I've just
Yeah, cool. So they're kind of walking down those stairs, and the other thing that you kind of noticed throughout, which I didn't bother interrupting, was various different people being announced as they kind of come in. So the room kind of over the time has got a lot busier. There's probably about more like 80 people there now, and the two of them kind of come down the stairs and then sit in the middle. Both of them have then kind of taken a glass of champagne, at which point Lord Lafayette Burns raises his glass and shouts out, "Well, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary people, it is very good to have you all here for another party of mine. I hope that you are all having a great time so far, and I hope that you will continue to have a great time. Obviously, we have drinks. The museum will be opening shortly, and there will be a 3-course dinner to follow. After probably in about an hour's time, you'll obviously be ushered through. When that's the case. Until then, have a bloody good time." To which you kind of hear some "hey," and everyone kind of raises their glass and cheers. And then kind of conversation resumes, and the two of them are sort of walking around mingling with various people, and lots of posh conversation carries on.
I just imagine I'm taking opportunities to point out how fashionable Mathilda is. Where was it you said you'd come from? Oh, did you just say we've come from... Did you give a place to the Mr. Opium
No,
Man?
yeah, I just said like, oh, and it's
We've
far
come
away.
from far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, they're obviously really ahead of us.
Away. That's
Did you introduce yourself as the music man? You come from far away. Sorry, terrible joke.
no, it's good.
Right. Yeah, what do you want to do? Actually, as you're stood around, the gentleman who had given you your syringe has kind of broken off from his group and wandered back over to the two of you.
Did we come from the little tour he said he was going to give me, or
No, because you pretty much came back in and then they sort of started getting announced. You kind of sidled over to Claudia. He's then kind of, after all of that, has then kind of looked around and found you.
Oh, darling Serena. This is a lovely gentleman I've met earlier on. Said he was going to give us a tour.
Oh, that sounds really wonderful. Let's go on a tour. Right. You know the guy who was weird with me?
Yeah.
If this was Sniper Elite, I would put a little mark on his head. Can I mentally do that? Like, he's a noticer in my head.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I don't know what that
I'm
looks
gonna
like
try
other than
I'm
you
gonna try and
remember
keep
him.
tabs on him, basically.
Oh, yeah. That's fair enough.
There is a real life equivalent, I know, but I couldn't think of it in terms of not video games for a second.
Do you mean just keep tabs on someone?
Yeah. Well, I forgot that. I was just thinking I would just put a little, I'd click on him.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I should leave the house more.
I didn't realise you'd be bringing a friend. But that's fine.
She understands. She can
Oh, interesting.
bring water, but she's
Interesting. I mean, I wasn't expecting company, but of course I'm always glad for company
Am I
that's
crashing a
understanding.
date? I don't want to crash a date.
I'm kind of like I've implied that you're coming with me. Like hinted to you that I was like, oh no, we're Oh, he said he'd bring us on a tour.
Digging your nails into my arm, like, no, you were coming.
Yeah, don't leave me alone with him, please.
So yeah, he kind of leads the pair of you. Back out the way you came.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of go past those stairs, and then he takes you through one of the doors on the right. As you're going out, to which you find yourself in quite a nice library. That he kind of starts talking around, showing you kind of different bits and some different sort of treasures that they have, kind of stored in this library. And kind of fancy old books, and he kind of takes you to a point, sort of opens, pulls on a book that the bookshelf swings off to the side, and it's actually a bookshelf behind it, so it's not a hidden room, but it's a hidden bookshelf. And what you see on that bookshelf are a collection of very old looking books, a lot of them written in languages that you don't understand. And as he kind of very carefully takes one down to demonstrate, he kind of opens it up. And as you can see here, this actually shows sign of being an autograph of this particular work. You can see it was known to be written about 800 years ago, and the penmanship, the ink they're using, is from that era, as well as the style is from that era. So it's believed that this is actually the original of this work. This is it's obviously a priceless, very valuable thing that obviously not once you go missing, kind of carefully puts it back, and you don't quite see what he does, but the bookshelf comes back. Definitely don't mention that I showed you that.
Oh, I was going to ask, do you know the family very well for you to know where all these things are?
Yes, we go back a long way. He kind of walks off a little bit without kind of elaborating anymore. Takes you up then, so kind of out the other side of that room, a couple of turns, up a set of stairs. As he kind of does that, he kind of walks past a servant, and he kind of gives him a look. He just kind of gives a little bit of a wave, and the servant walks off, leads you up the stairs, and then kind of takes you down. So one of the wings that you saw. So kind of as you're looking at it from the outside, it's kind of the left-hand side wing. He kind of shows you down that corridor that kind of leads past a bunch of rooms that he kind of walks straight past and ignores. Very briefly kind of stops halfway down. You can see kind of windows all the way. And you can see out the window, you actually got a nice view onto the courtyard area. That he kind of stops and takes a look at the fountain. You see, a couple arriving. He kind of smiles to himself. Well, they always arrive a bit late. Always want to do their best to show up the hosts, but anyway.
No, we're not acquainted with them. Who are they?
Oh, they're I believe they're old family friends of the Burns. So they're allowed to get away with such faux pas. The Flemings. Again, like, you'd recognise the name as being old.
Yeah.
Pretty, like, again, it's almost similar sort of level to the Burns, being like very rich, old money. You kind of spot that she's also there in a very elaborate, over-the-top white dress.
Oh, no, she did not. Somebody's got to spill wine on it. I'm not saying it has to be us. I'll just ask someone else to do it.
I love her.
He's kind of, looking down and kind of... she always finds out somehow.
Oh.
It's always, there's always one. I say there's always one. It's always her. Does her best to show up the hosts. It's all good nature, you understand. they don't do it to upstage. It's all part of the pageantry of all of this.
No, of course they don't.
Well,
What's a party without a little drama?
yes, exactly. You know, someone's always got to be the one to cause it. Why not? Why not choose who it is? You understand?
Did we get told? So I can't remember if we got told exactly what we're looking for.
You weren't told exactly, other than you're kind of expected it to be the same sort of thing, so some kind of shape with the same sort of notches cut in that would kind of resemble a very sort of odd key.
Did we have a pre-arranged eye signal or hand signal for this guy is really enigmatic and I want to keep pushing him till he tells us how he knows all this shit?
Series of hand squeezes.
Yeah.
It's like Morse
Morse
code,
code.
but in hand. Hand squeezes. Yeah. So how is it that you've come to know them so well?
You know, I've been here before. It's you know, I'm sure, you know, after a couple of these you'll be familiar with these things.
Not everyone seems familiar enough to go wandering around and giving people secret tours, though.
Well, you know, it takes a very special person to deserve this sort of treatment.
Do you consider yourself very special?
Oh, I didn't mean me.
Oh.
I meant to get a tour like this.
Oh.
Bright pink.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm shook.
It's like it was from like, you know, Morse code to just like
Yeah. It is a great dress that she's got, isn't it? It's a pretty cool dress.
Indeed. And I think you find with these sort of circles, if you just do things, people don't really question it. You understand? You take a walk around the place, as long as you act like you belong.
Yes.
I'm gonna like squeeze his arm gently and be like, well, how about showing us a little bit more? Considering I am so special.
Well, that depends on what sort of more you're thinking of.
Should I go? You guys, should I go? Have some transpad or I can knock out the guards, they'll never know.
I'm trying to think what best way to go with this is. Well, oh, so, sorry, I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. Well, how about like, I know that there's a like was it a gallery or a museum?
Museum.
Museum. Like, I know there's a museum, but I've heard that they're quite private, so maybe some of the more hidden elements, like the book. Do you know much about those that you could show?
Well, It's depends what you're interested in, really. Yeah, I've got a few interesting items around. As I'm sure you understand, the museum, none of it's particularly valuable. It's interesting, but it's, you know, pots and little statues and things that people can knock over, and it doesn't make any difference. They of course do have more valuable things, or things that they don't understand the value of. They do get kept around, but they're a little bit more of a challenge to look at.
Well, we are quite skilled. We can be quiet.
We can.
Low key, worst case scenario, just hit him with the back of the pistol.
Yeah, we love a challenge.
Let me show you what I mean. You can't, so you can easily back where you came. Through so at least you kind of back past those stairs, then down to the end, and then to the right. You see him at that point kind of get quite close to the wall, and kind of peer around, because kind of at the end is the sort of halfway through the corridor that you're looking down now is the spiral staircases that you saw just next to the party. You kind of see him go kind of just to the wall, just kind of the side, and just kind of subtly kind of peer around just to make sure that no one's coming up the stairs, and kind of waves you over. At this point, probably good to make a roll, because whilst there's no one immediately coming up the stairs, there are guards near enough that if you made a ruckus, you'd be found. So you can either do it individually, or you can do it as a group action if one of you is kind of happy to take the stress to maximise your odds.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I'm happy to do it as a group one if you want.
Yeah, either. I have a dot in parole, so...
I'm nothing improv at the moment.
I also don't think either of you are stressed enough yet, so...
I mean, in real life I am. I can't... social things? What are those? Yeah. If we do it as a group action, would I take the stress because I've got a dot in it, or...?
It'd be just whoever led it. It doesn't really make much difference.
But, like, I mean, I can take the stress.
It's just a question of who's got less stress.
I have 4 at the moment.
I only have 2, so I could do it.
Mhm.
Alright.
So yeah, you'd both roll for your prowl and then take the higher result.
Oh. Oh no.
I don't want to let go of the dice now.
That second champagne was a mistake.
Oh. It was a 6 and a 5. So
Okay.
5, I guess, would be the
Yes.
lower one.
Mine was a 2, so do I take stress for myself?
Good question. I don't think you do. I think it's other players.
Oblivious to my own actions.
Oh yeah, you do take
Okay.
1 stress for that. But the advantage of that, you've taken 1 stress, but you haven't failed it for everyone. So
Yeah.
that's the advantage. So okay, that's fine. But I think a couple of creaky floorboards that he'd kind of skipped past without you realising. You didn't quite realise were there. We're going to start a clock for people have found that you're upstairs and wondering what the hell you're doing there.
Oh, we can talk our way out of it. It's fine.
Cool. So it kind of takes you past that corridor, turns right, and takes you to a kind of fancy room, a fancy door, which he kind of subtly shows opening, moving the handle, and then it doesn't open. See, this is where they keep the really interesting things. But unfortunately it's kept locked, and well, I think Lafayette keeps the key on his person.
And I mark off a bit of loads.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm assuming burglary gear can count as like a lock-picking kit.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ruffle in the skirts.
I'm gonna stand in front of you so I can like
Retain my modesty. Come. And produce some tools. And say, well, may not need to find him. The key.
You truly are a remarkable woman.
Then I'm gonna try and open the door.
Sure, make roll for it.
I guess finesse. I'm trying to delicately, dexterously. Yep. Okay. Ah. Okay. Where's it gonna? Wait. Okay, for 4.
Okay. That is fine. So yeah, you managed to kind of work your way in. It's not quite a sort of lock that you're familiar with, and it takes a little bit of kind of working to get it quite right. And as you do that, you hear a bit of a kind of surprisingly loud sort of kind of noise as the lock kind of quite suddenly kind of clicks into place and kind of opens for you. So let's fill another segment of that clock. But you have opened the door. Your guide is looking a little bit stunned and a little bit surprised. It kind of takes a second before then walking in, and kind of spots a sort of lantern in the kind of far wall that he lights, and sort of closes the door behind you as you come in. What a remarkable room this is. So what you're looking at is then quite a decent sized office. It's got sort of on one side, it's got a desk and a chair, which you can see a bunch of kind of papers and old manuscripts and a couple of kind of old books sort of piled on it. You can see around there sort of bookshelves, which are a mixture of sort of general history type books and some very specific ones that, again, plenty of languages that you're not familiar with, and kind of items that you're not particularly sure about, what they're to do with. What you very much notice is that kind of locked in sort of cabinets around, there are various cabinets around that are kind of locked, that you would kind of expect to have something in, essentially. And you can also see like a safe in the corner as well. The desk itself is quite large, with kind of drawers on both sides, on behind, with a very kind of ornate wooden leather chair, and it's kind of bookshelves around the outside, with some sort of then cabinets, some of them on the outside, and there's kind of some that are kind of placed in the middle, that is kind of used all for storage, with then a safe kind of behind the desk in the corner.
The cabinets, they're not like windowed ones, it's like wooden doors. So.
Yeah, just wood.
Okay. For Claudia.
Did your mic cut out then? Did you ask me something? Sorry.
Yeah, where first?
Oh. What? Is the guy looking at us really sus, or is he just like? Is he like? They're gonna nick stuff, or do you reckon?
I mean, no. As it stands, he's kind of assuming some degree of intellectual curiosity and some degree of these parties with these rich people kind of suck. This is much more fun than chatting to rich people. So there's a part of him that would understand if you just breaking into random rooms in this house for fun. But he himself kind of has enough intellectual curiosity that he's also assuming that it would be of interest to people. If to try and break into an office and find interesting stuff out.
I want to ask him, like, what's the most exciting thing in this room? You must know, you've seen it before.
No, never been in here before.
How do you know where the door is then?
I've been to the door.
They've shown you the door and not let you in.
No, I've found the door.
And you've never got in before? Sad. Just gonna turn my back on him and go like...
Incredible.
Claudia and her shade. Excellent. A queen.
How valuable do we think they think it is? Is it really unsubtle to just go for the safe?
I'll look at cabinets, maybe. Or actually, I'll look around and see if there's a key somewhere hidden that we can, like...
Yeah, I kind of want to rifle through the desk, just almost absent-mindedly, but kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just being nosy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
But seeing through that, if we can find any actually, that's any indication, any like mention of what we like this kind of weird polygonal like notch thing.
Yeah. Make a roll for it.
Feel like so surveying the desk and papers and stuff. If there's a better way to say it, but like having a look around.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Okay. Two ones.
I really appreciate that you got the 2 6s when it mattered on the dress.
And the slides.
Yeah.
Can I prowl around the desk?
I mean, you can prowl around the desk, but you probably won't find out much beyond being very sneaky about getting there.
Oh. I can't really do anything. I guess I could try surveying the desk as well. It's just I'm not very good at it. By which I mean I can't do it.
Like we've already flopped hard enough. It's like
yeah, I got a 1 as well.
Incredible. Yeah, in which case you're kind of looking through various papers. To be honest, half of it you can't read because the guy's writing is really, really bad. So like a lot of what you're kind of looking at in terms of like his notes is just scribble. There's no sign of any keys in the drawers or anything.
Is it a... Sorry,
what were you going to say?
is it like a key safe, or is it a
Combination.
combination safe? Okay.
Yeah. And as you're kind of rifling around, having a look at things, don't quite notice the stack that you kind of catch with your arm and knock a few things onto the floor. We'll check another one on that clock.
How many parts did this clock have?
6.
Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Well, you know that guy I've just shaded? He's still in the room, so I'd like to turn to him and say, "Oh, you seem very you seem clever and interested in this kind of thing. Why don't say if you wanted to have a look in the safe and you thought you might find a combination, where would you look?"
Why do you think you'd keep a combination written down? Somewhat defeats the point of a safe, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know that and I know that, but does he know that?
Yes.
Oh, you're no fun.
What do you want me to say? I mean, I'm not. Like, that's why I get invited to these stupid things. Other than that...
Oh no, now I feel bad.
Yeah, he's not going to keep a safe combination written down. Certainly not in one of the drawers right next to it.
I can see why you didn't get past the door before then.
I mean, I tend to wander around places you're not supposed to more because it's fun to do that. And these parties are terribly boring.
But aren't you interested about what's in the safe? Don't you want to see?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you know how to crack a safe, I've never really bothered with it in the past. Oh, I suppose if you know how to do it, I mean, of course I'd be interested, but...
I do not know how to crack a safe.
You can give it a go.
unless I can attune it, unless it's a haunted safe.
There's a
Can
thing
I-
here that's part of my free equipment is electroplasmic ammunition. My brain being like, she's safe.
Oh, I can always. Is he
I
telling?
know, but it's just.
Incredible.
I'm not gonna shoot this.
Is he telling?
No,
the
I'm gonna.
this
Yes.
man we're with. Okay, good, because he's not allowed to lie to me. Because I always know.
Yeah. Nothing that he's said has come across as a lie.
I'm gonna try to crack the safe.
Sure, make a roll for it.
Gonna be finesse again, I guess. I feel like that's I don't know, kind of. I guess I'm carefully kind of moving my hand and listening, see if I can hear the right click and stuff like that.
You must have a stethoscope with your burglary gear.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah. That seems reasonable.
Yeah, cool. I'll use that to help, and I'm gonna push myself to it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or
Ooh,
you can ask for a devil's bargain as well if you prefer not to take the stress. 'Cause I think you're on 6 stress now.
did I take more?
Are you?
No, I don't think you took.
Oh no,
any.
you're still on 4.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's up to you. But
Yeah, because if I push myself, I'll get up
you
to
go to
6.
6. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the devil's bargain?
What is the devil's bargain? I think so regardless of success, you definitely find yourself with a very strong admirer.
Is this part of the devil's bargain?
Yes.
Don't worry, if he gets too much, your wig woman's got knives concealed on her person.
So,
Who
Yeah,
may be
I'll take
interested in finding you after tonight. Unless you actually give him your address as part of it, but I assume you wouldn't.
I know a place you guys could use.
yeah, let's take that. Let's go for it.
Cool. So I think that's then 3.
Okay. No, it'll only be so I only have one in thing. Or 2.
Oh, it's all either or. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So 2.
Grand. 6.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming this isn't your first safe cracking experience. You do the classic stethoscope on. Hearing it is it. You're quite impressed that it's a very smooth motion on the dial. It really doesn't give off much noise at all. If you didn't know what you were listening for, you'd really struggle. But this isn't your first time with a safe. You kind of, it takes you a couple of times to work out till you hear that little subtle little telltale click that you have come to know and love in your time of cracking safes. That you're kind of like, yeah, I got this one. kind of twists it, find that number, comes back. Again, a couple of goes to work out exactly where it is, but you end up kind of twisting it. And a nicely open safe. Inside safe. You find kind of stacked in there are some quite old looking gold coins. There's a little gold statue with some gems in it. And there is a familiar, this one's kind of square. What's the, like cube, oblong? Is it oblong? It's like a rectangle cube thing. I'm so bad with shape. I really should have looked up what 3D shapes are called before doing this.
Like a cuboid.
A cuboid, that's the one. What's an oblong? Okay, anyway. Yeah, like a cuboid, basically. Again, in some of the edges, little notches cut in.
Gonna
How
take it all, actually. Let's be real. Let's be honest.
How interesting
I need-
is our friend?
I feel like we could share
He,
a little bit with him. To kind of.
Yeah, he's interested in the gold coins mainly.
Yeah, I'm gonna give some to him. Just a.
I thought his
then-
interests were purely academic.
We're here now. Might as well. I mean, obviously for further study. You understand. That's what we're all taking these for. Further study.
Hmm.
So, presumably this satisfies your intellectual curiosity then?
It does indeed. Thank you for your help.
Anytime. Or was it Miss Rolls-Royce?
We don't even know this guy's name.
A pleasure. And I'll put my hand out. And be like, and
Indeed.
yourself. And then, yeah, and yourself. The implication is to ask his name.
I suspect that if you're not willing to tell me your real name, then I will forgo introductions.
Grab Toddy's hand and run.
I am giving his my real name. I want to know his name.
I mean, he's definitely convinced that Miss Rolls-Royce is not a real name. He's not sold that... I mean, he has no idea who you are. So he's just kind of assuming that you're just pretending to be a high tower.
Well, I'm not pretending to be a high tower, and I want to know your name. That's extremely rude.
I'm sure we'll meet another time, Miss Hightower. Don't worry
And
about
I'll
it.
threaten you. No, I won't threaten him. Don't worry. It's tempting. We could lock you in here, you know.
Mm,
No, he'd probably be into that. Never mind. Come on.
well, yes, I suppose you could, but if you did that, you'd have to still work out your way back down.
God damn it, he's right.
Yes, I know, I'm very irritating.
I don't like the self-deprecating thing. This has to stop.
Well, I'll endeavour to be more arrogant for you. he kind of closes the door behind him, which actually it kind of has an auto locking mechanism.
Did we turn the light off?
Because you asked, yes.
Did we shut the safe?
Again, yeah. Let's assume you put everything back as best as you could remember. Actually, make a quick roll for putting things back as best you remember.
What skill is that?
Which skill do you think it should be?
I mean, I think it should be sway or consort.
I think you struggle with that one.
What if I consorted our friend to help?
That would work.
Yeah. That's how you get everything done in life. Well, it's a 3 anyway, regardless.
Okay, well,
2 3s.
I mean, obviously the obvious things you can all do, close the safe, and but he didn't really get much of a good look at the papers on the desk that you kind of messed with and knocked off, so...
He's too busy looking at his favourite elaborate dress wearing lady.
Exactly. So he's not really much help in putting those back together.
His head is not in the game.
No. As he is kind of leaving then, he... What's the best? Yeah, okay. Yeah, he takes you then kind of background past those spiral staircases, kind of back in that sort of area towards the stairs, but then out to the front of the house. And you see the kind of balcony that then kind of covers the entrance to the place. Is kind of designed that there's then a bit of a what would be the right way of saying it? It has a slightly sloped roof that kind of curves down. It's kind of designed that you can kind of walk down to the edge and sort of drop yourself off without hurting yourself. In the case of fire and you're struggling to find another way out, it's kind of, you can just go up and down quite easily, and kind of demonstrates kind of, walking down and jumping off. As he does so, it's kind of late enough, no one's really leaving yet, but it's sort of late enough that they've got a couple of carriages waiting to kind of take people, as they want to leave. So they don't really think, they're not really paying attention to what you're doing. It's only if you decide you wanted to leave and kind of knock on the door and ask for departure, that they would then just take you out. Unless there's anything else you want to do.
I feel like that.
But you can quite cleanly take yourself away. He gives you a wave as you do. It's very nice to meet you, Miss Rolls-Royce. I hope we see each other again soon.
I have a feeling we might. And I'll. No.
Are we in the same
But
carriage?
I'll give him a little thank you for your hospitality.
Much more interesting than these parties normally are. So he kind of leaves and walks back in. He doesn't actually walk directly into the entrance. He kind of walks around to, look as if he just stepped outside the back for a smoke or something, rather than coming back into the front door. You just take a carriage out, presumably to a random place in Bright Tower, to then head down to 6 towers yourself, sneakily, so they don't know where you live. And job done.
Thanks so much for watching and for joining for this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all the normal YouTube stuff. The next episode will be live on Twitch on the 27th of September. Link to the channel will be down below. Till next time we see you, hope you have a great day. Bye.